I'm kidding, guys. Welcome back. We're not going to listen to the song once again. Mauricio, hey man, glad you're here again. Hopefully the audio is now fixed. Everything should work in order. You shouldn't hear it double, so I'm very happy with that. I know that last week I said that we would edit some photos from myself. However, Anthony Morganti uploaded a video or a couple of videos this week, and it was a photo editing challenge. And he used On1 Photo Raw, he used Luminar AI, he used all kinds of programs, but what he didn't use is Darktable. Now, I've spoken to him a couple of times, and I know why he didn't use it, because he's not very familiar with that program. However, I had a look at the raw file and I was like, that's a great photo for us to edit in Darktable. So what I've done is I've put a link in the description down below where you can download the photo, so you can actually follow along with this tutorial. I don't really know if it's a tutorial, but I'm going to show you what my approach to this image is. I've also put a link to his channel in the description down below, so if you haven't checked him out or if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. He's got amazing tutorials on Lightroom, on One Photo Raw, what else is there? Photo Lab, Luminar AI, whatever program there is, he's got a video on it. Topaz AI for the other AI effects and stuff. So go check that out if you want to. And yeah, I think I'm going to show you the... Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? Happy to see you here as well. Feel free to share the stream with your audience on your Facebook group. For those of you who don't know, Mark has got an awesome Facebook group. It's the Great Photography Walk, if I'm not mistaken. There's not a lot of walking going on right now due to the corona pandemic. However, they upload some amazing photos that I really love watching them or looking at them, to be honest. And he's got a great community going on. They all help each other and they all have great chats. And I'm very happy that you've invited me into that Facebook group. Even though I'm not very participant, is that the right word? I do enjoy everything that's going on down there. So have a look at that as well. The Great Photography Walk. I'll put a link in the description. Remind me, Mark, I'll put a link in the description of this live stream, because this live stream will stay up on my channel in comparison to the previous one, which I've deleted because that was just awful. I watched it back. The audio was horrible. Luckily, we found out why. So please confirm in the comment section that the audio and everything is on par. It's a great quality. You can see me on the screen in great quality so that we don't have any issues. Right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to change into Darktable in 3, 2, 1, lift off. And we are in Darktable, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me remind you, this is not my photo. This is the photo of Anthony Morganti. I expect that he took this one himself. I'm not quite sure, but whatever the thing is or whatever the origin is of this image, it doesn't matter, because I think it's an amazing image, because it's got a lot of details which make this a very, very challenging image. Right, so I've already made a duplicate for myself so that I have my original edit, because I gotta be honest, I did not rehearse this. So I'm not quite sure if I can get the same results. However, let me walk you through what I've done. I've used the RGB curve module to address the white balance. I've used the exposure to do some dodging and burning. I've used the tone equalizer to brighten this area up. Then I've used some bloom around the edges of the highlights to make sure that they pop some more, to bring it more to life. Then, rather than an exposure thing, then I've used some local contrast to add to this image. Did some color balance for the contrast as well. We crop and rotated it so that this is on the rules of thirds. I used astrophoto denoise. Don't ask me why, but it gave me a better result than using the denoise profile. So I was like, hey, why not? Then I've used some contrast equalizer. Let me remind myself what I've done there, because contrast equalizer, I have no idea. I think I don't know. I think I used the clarity one. I think that makes the most sense. And then I did some other things like sharpen it, color zones to make the leaves pop a little bit more, low pass to add some more brightness to the image and contrast. So without further ado, let me show you what the original photo looks like. There you go. It looks absolutely horrible, but we're going to address that in this video. Let's take a deep breath and let me know in the comment section down below. Let me transition back to myself, not because I like watching myself, but let me know if you already downloaded this photo so you can follow along. How about it? Did anyone download it yet? Oh, I got a button for that. Check it out. This is when I'm at work during the day, or I work from home, but I always make fun of people with sounds like this, or like we're waiting for something and then drum roll, please. There you go. Okay, so I assume nobody downloaded the photo because downloads. Oh, it's downloading. Okay, right. Let's move on to Darktable. Right, so here we are at the photo. So let's just hit the compress history stack, and now everything is gone, and I gotta do everything again. So let's go and use the RGB curve module, because that's what we're going to use to address the, this is set, by the way, to workflow seam referred. I don't know why. I read something about it. Someone posted something about the seam referred workflow, and he forgot to mention my name that I make tutorials. Shame on you if you're watching this. So let's go back. Either way, in this case, I'm not going to leave it at RGB linked channels. I'm going to change them to RGB independent channels, because that allows me to change the channels individually. So the reds, the greens, and the blues. And in order for me to do that, I need to change the histogram into this. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you want the perfect white balance, you need to make sure that this levels out. So it's all the same. That gives you the perfect white balance. Now, this image has been shot on a Sony. I don't know which one, but I think he has the A7 III. And he didn't buy the A7S III just yet, but I think he has the A7 III. Yeah, it's a 24-70 f2.8. And the Sonys are notorious, especially the A7 III, for the magenta typecast. And you can see, and if you want to address the magenta, all you got to do is move this slider, because if you move it down, you've got more. If you move it up, you've got less. But let's focus on the first one. So the red one, I want to bring that one down. So the highlights are here, the midtones are here, and then here are the shadows. And the shadows are pretty equally divided. So I'm just going to drop this down a little bit. And I'm going to drop down the greens as well. And if I drop down the greens, the reds are starting to move up again. And I think that the blue one needs to be leveled out a little bit as well. There you go. That already looks, it's a little bit hard to watch or to see. Maybe drop down the reds. Come on. Okay, yeah. I think they are now equally divided. Obviously, the blue should be a little bit more present due to the enormous sky here. But I think we nailed the white balance right now. So that's the first thing that I wanted to do in this image. Let's have a look what the second step was, because like I said, I have no idea what I was doing. Exposure one. Okay, let's go back. Let's get the exposure one. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to change this again. Exposure one. I know that I changed the black level correction by just one step. And now I want the tone equalizer. I'll work on the exposure later on. I won't do it right now, but I'll show you in a minute. It's going to be awesome. So let's open up the tone equalizer, but we need a mask. So let's use this one, the drawn mask. And the reason why is because if I just move this around the image and scroll the mouse wheel button away from me, this is the end result. Or scroll it towards me, then it becomes dark. So if you're new to darktable, because I see Epperf does, he says, honestly, I'm surprised how darktable is now outperforming Lightroom. I don't know if you're new to this, but if you look at the value, it says minus 6.2, it says minus 1.2. That means that it corresponds with this. So that will be addressed. And by the way, if you don't know that, if you hold the control, the increments are different. Same goes for holding the shift button. That will change it tremendously. Or just your mouse button. So, like I said, we need a mask. And I'm not going to use a... The reason why I have it here... Sorry, the connection lost. So the reason why I have it here has to do with the fact... let's go... We're back. Something went wrong. The reason why I made this mask has to do with the fact that I'm going to feather it out anyways. Like you can see here. And you can just move this in if you want to. Due to this. So that's okay. And I'm going to use the feathering and the mask blur. And now I'm going to make sure that I click this symbol. Otherwise it won't work. And I'm just going to move this. See? Now I'm just lighting up this area of the image so that it looks a lot brighter. And we don't affect anything else. In fact, let me just take a snippet so I know what I'm actually doing. New, there you go. Okay, now I've got a snip. So that's it for the tone equalizer. Now, let's go back to our edit. There you go. We're a long way from home. I realize that, but don't worry. We'll fix it. Now what I want to do is I want to use the exposure one. So I'm going to use the exposure module. We already used one for the black level. So let's just get a new instance. And now we've got a new instance. Now let's see what happens if we brighten this image up a little bit. Just to make sure. So I'm going to paint over the water here. And I'm going to paint over the water here as well. And let's bring that one down. So we're going to darken that. But obviously we need to feather it quite a bit. And I'll just extend this so that it matches. Maybe. Yeah, that looks great. So there you go. So let's see before and after. So here's a before, here's an after. Okay, I'm very happy with that result. Now what I want to do is I want to brighten this up a little bit. And I'm going to use the bloom module for that. So let's use the bloom one, activate it. And let's see, now it looks horrible because you see what it's doing, because that means that we need a mask. So I'm going to use this mask. I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to draw around the edges of the cloud to make it stand out a little bit more. Don't worry, it looks horrible, but trust me on this one. And I want to paint on the water. This is a very rough edit. There you go. And I want to paint here as well. And then maybe let's paint here. There you go. So now we need to feather this by quite a bit. Well, let's see a before and after. So here's a before, here's an after. It's very subtle. You can change the size if you want to. So that will make this even stronger. So let's put this on 30%. But watch what we're going to do. Let's get another exposure one. So a new, oh no, what did I do? Control Z. If you ever click somewhere and it doesn't work the way it should, just click Control Z to undo it. New instance. Let's check the chat. I swear by darktable, especially if you're a Fuji user. I wrote an article last week which is on the darktable group and it's brought loads of new followers. Let's go back. Mark, feel free to drop that link here in the chat. It shouldn't be blocked, so you should be able to share it with the audience. And I'm going to use, here's a great thing, because we can actually reuse the mask. So if we use the drawn mask, and we're going to search for the bloom one. So here we have it, use the same shapes as the bloom. And we're going to increase the exposure just a little bit to make it, there you go, feathering, blur it out. So now it stands out even more. So look, here's a before. And here's an after. It just, let me see, it might be a little bit too much here in the cloud. So we might just drop this one down. Let's go to 75. There you go. But it's very subtle, but it definitely makes a difference because we've got that nice glow here on the beach. So let's have a look. What else should we do to this image? Okay, we need some contrast and we need to crop and rotate it. So let's do that first. Hey, A1 Bokeh. Welcome to the channel once again. I hope you enjoy, because he's a filmmaker. He's got a YouTube channel as well. Feel free to put your, everybody's my friend. And you can all market yourself in the chats. Feel free to put your channel or your Instagram in the chat. He's making some, I don't know, it's not really feature films, is it? It's just like little bits and pieces and some YouTube videos every now and then. So go check it out if you've got some time left and if you want to support the community that's supporting Darktable. Shit. Luckily, ooh, I was swearing, I hope I don't get demonetized for that. I was dropping my water bottle. How many people are there actually? We've got 15 concurrent viewers. If that's in Dutch, concurrent, we say concurrent, and that means that it's competition. That's 14 people. One just left after I called them out. Horrible. How are you liking the stream so far? So let me put that. How do you like the stream thus far? Okay. While people are talking in the chat, let's edit this photo. All right, so we're back at the photo. We've just added some exposure again to make it stand out. Now what I want to do is I want to use the local contrast one to add some contrast. And there's loads of ways. Yeah, I'm going to address that in this video. There are loads of ways to address contrast. And the easiest way to check it out is, let's go back to Darktable. If you fill in contrast in the search module box, it will show you all the modules that you can use to add contrast. Now, my most favorite one is the local contrast one. The contrast brightness and saturation is an old one. Then we've got filmic RGB, but if you activate that, I really dislike this one, but it's usually because I don't really know how to work with this. I think you've got no, it's not here, but you've got a filmic RGB workflow. There are some articles about that. If you go to look, you can add the contrast here, or it's actually being added once you've activated it, but I don't really like that one. So let's just go back, compress history stack. So that's one way to do this. Then another way is to add the local contrast one, and then we've got the contrast equalizer, which you can use primarily for some clarity. That's how I like to look at this one. So I'm going to use the color balance one, and I'm going to click this contrast fulcrum. Oh, now I remember. And that will select this entire clip. And now all I got to do is add some contrast. See? And what you can do and should do, I think, because the sun is already blown out, so why not just grab a mask, and you can use a circle to put it over the sun and then invert it. That's one thing that you can do. Or you can just paint over it, if that's something that you're into. So now I'm painting over the sun. For instance, I'm going to feather it, blur it, and I'm going to make sure that, boom. So now the sun isn't affected, or everything we do is not being affected to the sun because it's already blown out. I want to increase the saturation, and there are actually two sliders. So you've got the input saturation, and you've got the output saturation. And this is the first one, and this is the second one that you can use. So in this case, I'm going to leave this at 100 and this at 110. And this adds saturation after your changes. So for instance, you can change the hue of the shadows, and then you can add some saturation here as well. But in this case, I want to brighten up the shadows just a little bit, not too much. This is a very strong one. I'm going to do the same thing for the midtones, so that it speaks to the imagination just a little bit better. And let's see if we address the highlights. See? So let me drop that one down because it still is a, well, fairly against the light type of photo. So let's see before and after. So here's a before, and then here's an after. So it's a little bit more bright. I see that this is getting blown out as well. So let's just add a mask there. Like I said, I'm doing a very rough edit here. And another one here. There you go. We don't see any halo, so that's a good thing. Let's check the chat. Also in Italy, Concorrenti. Mark is enjoying. I like the setup. I want to get into streaming as well. Gotta go, my friend. See you later. See ya. I'll text you on Instagram. Don't worry. I'll help you get set up a stream. Okay. Let's go back to the image. So we just added some contrast with the color balance one. My link keeps disappearing to the darktable article. Never mind. Okay. Let me just, I can type it, but I can tell you as well. Mark, send me the link. And I'll put it in the description box. And then people can see and enjoy it. Let's go back. Transition. Where were we? Okay, so now I'm going to denoise it. Yeah, we're almost there. I see I used the Filmic RGB one in the previous one. So this is the image. If we take a snapshot, I think that will... Well, so, yeah, I still got some work to do. I mean, how do we go from this to this, right? Ooh, that's a challenge. Okay. That's what you get when you don't remember what you've actually done. But don't worry, we'll get there. I'm a professional. Okay. History, color balance. Let's just deselect the snapshot. By the way,